I would like to present you the Virtual Cilicia Project. So first, where is Cilicia? Cilicia is a region in Turkey between Anatolia and the Levant, and it was always located at an important crossroad between these two regions. And what is this Virtual Cilicia Project? It's based on KML, so you can open this project in an Earth browser, as for example Google Earth. So it's necessary to download the software, and then you have also download this KML file. Right now there exists an English version and a German version. You will receive that information or that file on our website. I also brought a few postcards with me over there. Please just help yourself. And who is responsible for it? So we are a team from the University of Bern in Switzerland, and a team with researchers with different background. For example, Tim, who is our technical manager, he works at the university administration. Fabienne, she's responsible for the visual communication, so she created the logos and the icons. And then we have 3 archaeologists from different fields, so a classical archaeologist and 2 Near Eastern archaeologists. Then you see there are many contributors listed here, so these are students from the University of Bern who added some content, and then we also have 2 project partners from projects we are working on in Turkey. And all that started actually in 2 seminars. So my colleague Ralph, he was teaching a seminar about methods, about maps and plans in archaeology, how we can use them, what are the possibilities, and there they made one exercise with KML. And in another seminar about Cilicia, we generated more content for the project, but this was not the main task of this seminar. The motivation originally was to present online the different projects from the University of Bern in a virtual surrounding with the help of maps, and here you can see these 3 different projects in that region we have been working on and are still working on. So the first project we started is Magasos, that's a Hellenistic settlement at the Karatepe. Here are some impressions from there. Here you can see the stadium. Over there's a theater located. And there you got at least a glimpse of the city wall. There are still a few stones standing there. Then the next project, my most favorite one, there was a lowland tapestry that's at the foothills of the Taurus mountains already. It's a special site because on a very small limited area on the top of a hill there is a Neo-Assyrian rock relief, so from the 8th century BC. Then there is a Roman temple very close by to this rock relief. Here we see also the temple wall which is still standing, and the rock relief is basically in the back of the student measuring here. And then later on, these buildings were reused as kind of fortification structure in medieval time. And the last project is the one which is still going on, the excavations on Keyhole in the middle of the Cilician plain. So 2 survey projects and 1 excavation project. Here are some impressions from the excavations on Keyhole. Also there is a rock relief dating to the Hittite time. So what kind of data we wanted to integrate? So first we had maps and plans we created by our own. And maps, for example, here we see a map from Alishan, which is about 120 years old. This was the only map available when we started to work at this site. There you see the stadium and the theater. Over there, temple of Athena Magasia, where Alexander the Great visited to. Then for this area there are also Corona satellite imagery available that we integrated too. And of course, we have many photographs we were taking during the last years of field season. And here you see also an overlay with the plan of the temple at Tepe in the front, the 4 columns which are still standing in situ. On the photographs, you can click on the photograph, then it shows you the same picture in a higher resolution. Then in the regions there are also a few museums, for example the museum in Adana, with this object found in front of the sea in Cape Karatepe, a bronze statue. Then there are some travel reports available for this region. Karatepe, she was visiting 1905. She was coming from Syria and traveling then through Cilicia. She left actually her diary we still have, and there are many photographs she took. All these information are available on the Newcastle Karatepe archive, and they are all online available. So here we mentioned the source where the information is coming from. When you click on the photo, then it's directly a link that opens in Google Earth, the browser where the photo comes from, and all the other content we generated in this project and the photographs that are ours, we put under a CC license. Then we have one 3D model integrated a student made with Google SketchUp a few years ago, so a reconstruction of the Roman temple on top of Tepe. And then, of course, there is a lot of literature available for the people who are more interested, who would like to know more about that site, to know where they can find this information. And it was the idea to build something that the user is able to explore it by his own. And therefore, we found a solution to build all that in KML. That's the programming language Google Earth is using. It's an XML notation, basically for expressing geographic annotation and visualization within an internet-based 2D maps and 3D Earth browsers. And maybe you have seen also the format KMZ, that's basically just a zipped version of a KML. Since 2008, KML is also an OGC standard, so by the Open Geospatial Consortium, which also means it's very well documented. There is quite a large user community. The training period is really short, so if you used HTML before, then KML is not such a big step. Google Earth, the browser to view this data, is free available for different operating systems, and it's quite popular. Many people have already installed Google Earth on their computer. In the beginning, I forgot to mention that. I showed you where you can download Google Earth. Now there is also, since a while, there is Google Earth Pro available, and since a few months, or maybe since last year, Google Earth Pro is available for free. You just have to enter the code GPE3, and then you can, for private use, you can use Google Earth Pro for free. So for example, the printing resolution is much higher. It's possible to import GIS data, as for example shapefiles. The image overlays, they also have a higher resolution, and the measurement tools are more elaborated. You can also measure, for example, polygons and other geometrical geoforms. And then it's useful to have also an editor to edit the code. There are many free software available. What to do with kind of big data, with larger data sets, for example, a map with a high resolution. Here we have an SRTM height model. You don't want to wait long until the browser is loading. For this you need a GIS. There you can build different zoom levels, pyramids, and then it's loading only the map tiles for the zoom level they are requested on. So this can be integrated as well. but for generating this, you really need a GIS. What is the nice thing here, that all this information is integrated in a geobrowser. So it's integrated in the today's landscape. You can compare plans or all the satellite imagery with the modern landscape. For example, here we see again the site Magasos at the Cap Karatash. This Hellenistic site with the street system, and if you know it, we haven't realized that in the beginning, but after a while you see that the street system is still visible on the corona, and even on the model map, when you know where to look, you can find at least a glimpse of it. That map was basically created with remote sensing data, but mainly by geophysical prospection. And I think this is an approach which is very interesting for the experts, but also for the layman. So it's a level which is interesting for both. Then there is additional information provided by Google Earth. For example, you can show the streets, the today's street system, and then also here we have the main mountain passes in the region as a symbol added by the Virtual Cilicia Project. And then we decided to create two folders. You hopefully can see this. Here we have a folder for the periods, and down there is a folder for the categories. For the periods, we tried to figure out for each site we included in this project what was the most important period. Of course, it gains a lot of discussion to figure that out, or to find a decision everyone was happy with. And then this site is represented by a distinctive symbol for the one period we have chosen. The other folder, so you can, for example, make a tick at this folder, then this information are shown, and the same for categories. There we marked if it's a settlement or a fortification or a rock relief. And here you can see there is the time of the Armenian kingdom in Cilicia highlighted. So that's the 11th to the 14th century AD. And there we can see a lot of castles, a lot of fortifications in the Taurus mountain range. And here you see already something, the Google Earth timeline. For archaeologists, maybe the most interesting feature. So you can choose a time span, and then it shows only the information associated to this time span. So you can, every information you add can be associated with a different or with a specific time span. But first of all, Google Earth can also just used as a placemark collection, as for example the ancient Near Eastern Atlas from the Uppsala University is doing that. So just a lot of place maps with names, modern names and the ancient names. And this is the Virtual Cilicia Project too. So it's a collection of place marks where when you can click on one place mark, it opens a balloon, additional text is shown, and also a photograph. This would be possible to include this as well, which is not done right now. I wrote my PhD also about this region, about the settlement systems in Cilicia, and there, for example, I created also a lot of maps and geodata, and the plan is in the future to include also that information. For example, reconstruction of rivers, of former river courses, and of the coastline. There are, of course, also some drawbacks. It's necessary to download something, so it's not only running in the browser and you have every information available. Basically, Google Maps is able to read KML files, but since last year, it's not longer supported that you can read this file from external websites. So you have to go to Google My Maps and then upload the KML file. Then it's also shown that you see here in German that not everything can be loaded, the style sheets are lost, so it's not working really smoothly and perfectly. Yeah, thanks. To sum up, it's a good option to include overlays as maps and plans. In balloons, you can provide additional information about one site, so for example as text, photos, but of course also maps and plans. It's possible to set links to other websites, to other web pages. And as I mentioned before, all that is integrated in the 2D landscape, and the user can explore by his own interactively the region or a site. But the reference is always a globe. So it makes more sense for larger, for projects with a larger scale than only for one site. And I think the main positive thing is that the combination of different sources provides more information. Negative, there is additional software necessary, you have to download data, it's not running very well in the browser. And if you're interested to add your own icons, to choose the layout, it's necessary to go to the code. But basically, you can add place marks in Google Earth itself. You can upload image overlays and then try somehow to geo-rectify them in Google Earth. This is all working well without using a GIS. So you can, basically you can already do really a lot without coding. Are virtual globes the future? I'm not so sure. Maybe right now the future is more on browser-based solutions. For those interested in, I organized together with colleagues in January a workshop about my scientific web map, step by step. There you will find all the presentation online and some further information. So maybe JavaScript. There are many libraries available for JavaScript. Might be right now more the future than virtual globes. We will see. But for sure it's useful for a collection of place marks. I'm absolutely sure that every Near Eastern archaeologist who is using his computer for more than only MS Office, Skype and the browser has once downloaded these ANE place marks. They are really useful, but it's a bunch of information and it's hard to find a way to figure out something. So if your goal is the visualization of geodata, and in archaeology basically everything is geodata, then Google Earth is a good option, a fast option, and quite an easy option to do some visualization. Coding is not absolutely necessary, as I already mentioned. And virtual globes, it's useful for projects with a large scale. But for all of them, it's necessary to do a didactical reduction to decide what information is important, what I would like to show, what I would like to present. And of course, you have to try that the information is not getting wrong. So for example, for Adana, that's today the main city in this region, the 5th or 6th largest city in Turkey. We have chosen that the Islamic period, so also the modern time, is the most important period for this site. But we also know, for example, for the late Bronze Age, that the region was called Land of Adania. So obviously also then Adana was a very important main site, but the ancient site of Adana lies below the modern city, and therefore there is only little information available about ancient Adana. And what is also different with, for example, a book or something printed, the reading order is not really straight. So there is no one is starting at page 1, there is no index. So this one has to be kept in mind if someone is creating something like that. Yeah, so thank you very much for your attention.